All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're going to go to the phones in 1 second, but I want to ask Paul Zeise a question real quick. Andrew Filipponi was on the show last night with me, and he said he thinks it would be best if the Pirates just absolutely stunk this year and got the first-round draft pick. That would help them in the future. And also talked a little bit about if they were, say, 13-16 or 13-17 around the trade deadline, what would they do? What would you do if they were in that position? And do you think it would be best for the Pirates just to finish last? Not on purpose, but, to have a really bad season.
Have we looked at what they've done with the number one pick or for a top 4 or 5 pick over the last 15 years? I mean, they've hit on a couple of them, but I don't know that they've hit on the ones as many as they should have. To me, you play to win and let all that other stuff take care of itself. Now, if you're 13-17 or something at the trade deadline, to me, you're probably not going to be a playoff team. So you sell off the guys you're trying to sell to try and get something back for. So to me, in that case, giving up on the season or whatever you want to call it, I don't have a problem with it. But tanking just to get the number one draft choice in baseball, a guy who might not be here for 4 or 5 years, is kind of silly.
Yeah, not so much tanking, but if you're one game out and you have a losing record like you're 13-17, do you go for it? Do you buy? Do you sell? I mean, I still sell. I sell whatever I can this year. I'm just selling to get good guys in here, young guys with promising futures, because I think we see it right now. I feel it. You're at least 3 years away of being a competitive ball club, I think, in my opinion.
Well, I think the biggest thing about it is if you look at some of the guys they have in the minors, they've got some young players that can be okay. And then, of course, you got in the other way, you have some guys that maybe if they get back healthy, you might be able to trade for something like Kella, but I don't know that they're going to get a ton for all of the guys who are you talking about trading here?
Kella's the only one right now. I was hoping Archer would be healthy.
What are you going to get for Frazier? What are you going to get for Frazier?
I don't think anything.
A bag of balls. I mean, and then you've got, Polanco, who's taking that contract off of your hands, especially if he's hurt and then he's hurt again and all the other stuff that goes on with him. You got Kella. That's about who you can trade.
Yeah,
and then,
that's it.
You know what? He's not pitching right now. I mean, last year they thought maybe they'd be able to get something from Cal Crick. He better be really, really good these next 3 or 4 weeks if they're going to get anything from him. And I don't even think, they'll get much for him, even if he does pitch well.
Let's go out to Joe in my old stomping grounds, Penn Hills. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Rich. Hi, Paul.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Hello.
Yeah, I happened to watch High Heat today. I just happened to turn it on, and he brought the Giants and the Pirates up, and he said their AAA ball clubs are pathetic, both of them, he said. And I still remember as a young boy, 1952, the Rinky Dinks, and there was only 16 teams. And them Rinky Dinks is as good as this team right here. I've never seen such a terrible roster. And it's going to take more than 3 years, Richie, maybe forever with Nutting, because anything you get, he's going to give away. Look at how they did Meadows. That young kid's going to be good for 5, 6, 7 years. They're a disgrace. They're ruining the city of Pittsburgh. This isn't a major league team anymore. And I feel real bad. I'm in my late 70s, and I'll never see anything again, and it's really sad. I lost all interest, and I'll get a score, but it doesn't matter anymore. But, thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks a lot, Joe. I hear you, and I feel a lot of Pirates fans feel like you do. But that was the other regime. Maybe Cherington, Williams can do a little bit better, can figure out how to keep young talent around. That's going to be tough if you're not going to pay guys. That's the problem. The problem is the top, Bob Nutting. And until he pays or until there's some kind of salary floor, salary cap, I think we're going to see this. You just got to hope that they hit on, 5 young guys at once, and maybe they can be competitive in 4 years?
Joe seems to be very optimistic about the season.
We get a lot of optimism around here.
Well, I agree with him. It's going to take more than a couple of years. I think you got to, but you're right, too. You got to hit lightning in a bottle with some of these guys all coming together at the same time before they reach, the end of their arbitration and they got to be traded, and because of the salaries and all that other stuff. All you can do if you're the Pirates, if you're, Charrington and company, is try and, put together an organization where you are basically stockpiling a lot of really good young players. I mean, one of the things that you want to see, Richie, everyone talks about how the Dodgers, they got all this money and they do all this and, they have the resources and look at how they've drafted versus how the Pirates have drafted. Look at what they've done with their ability to go out and get those young amateur players and draft them into their organization versus how the Pirates have done it. If the Pirates would do it the way that the Dodgers have done it, they'd have enough good young players, and then they'd have some superstars under control for a few years. But they've missed on way too many draft picks.
Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, Astros, they've all done it that way. Let's go out to Harry in Westview. How you doing, Harry?
All right. They're kind of like watching that magnetic football game where your guy runs out of bounds or else he drops the felt football. But, I like watching the young guys more than I like watching these guys that are washed up they're only going to be here for 1 year or 2 years.
You know what, Harry, I'm with you here. And, Paul, I don't know how you feel, but I would play all the young guys. I'd put Cole Tucker out in center field or right field. I'd make sure Newman plays. I'd make sure Ke'Bryan Hayes plays when he's here. I want to see Eric Gonzalez again. I want to see all the younger guys that you got and see what you have. I'd much rather see them play than lose with guys like Gerard Dyson.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing with that is you got to make sure that they are actually ready, because you could do, some harm to them if they're not really ready. If Cole Tucker, you put him in the lineup every day and he goes 0 for, 41 or something, or a stretch like that, that could set him back. But I agree. In general, I don't even know why, well, I guess Ke'Bryan Hayes isn't ready, but when he's ready, he should play. There's no reason to play Colin Moran over there. Let him be your DH and whatever, But there's no reason to play him over there. There's some younger guys that you want to see. Cole Tucker's one of them, obviously. Just let's see what he's got. And the thing about it is it won't be long. They're going to bring up, they're going to have to bring up O'Neal Cruz. There's some young guys that over the next 2 years we need to find out about.
Yeah, let's go out to Dan in North Fayette. What's up, Dan?
Hi, Rich. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for calling.
When we get all the sports started up again, who do you think is going to have fans in the stadium first?
You know what? That's a really good question, Dan. Paul, what would be your guess? I'm going to venture to say that the Pirates are going to eventually try to get fans in the stands if the numbers go down. But here you might not see that during Pirates season because the governor might not allow it. The state might not allow it. I don't know if you're going to see fans in the stands with the Pirates and Steelers, so I might lean towards the Steelers because they're playing later.
Well, I would think this. I think I read today where the Texas, athletic director, I think it might even mean the governor, said that, he expects up to 50,000 people in the stands at Texas football games. So, the rest of the country's talking about not having football. They're talking about having, a stadium that's half full. I would say that, it will probably be baseball that will have fans first. I just feel like, they're going to, obviously the NBA and NHL, they're not going to have fans at all. In the NFL, I think that when you look at it, if the NFL is going to be able to have fans, that would probably mean that baseball is, already at the point where they can have fans because, the NFL is later. So I would say a baseball probably be the first one to get some fans in the
Maybe
stands.
sometime in September? I'm saying locally. I think baseball might get fans somewhere along the way around the country, but locally, who do you think? Do you think that the baseball will be still going by the time maybe the state allows fans to go to athletic events?
I do. And like I said, I think if they're going to allow fans for baseball, they're going to have to allow them for football. So, it might be just a matter of, how much they're going to do capacity-wise, 25%, 30%, whatever it is, and then they'll have to go from there. Of course, if the Pirates are really, really bad, they won't have to worry about putting limits on the number of fans that are coming. But it could get interesting with the Steelers if they're only allowed 20%. That's what, 1 in 5. There's a whole lot of guys, with season tickets that are going to be locked out.
All right, now it's time for our Tri-State Office Furniture Tweet of the Day. And speaking of the Buccos, the Pirates opening day. It all begins now. Bucco baseball's back. Let's go, Bucks. All right, back in a couple more minutes. Stay right there.